and thanks for joining us for the Midday News. The Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Law and Order began consultations for the Momasa region at the Lay Forestry Institute on Monday. The committee met with community leaders from within Lay city settlements, ward councillors from Morobe province who aired their views on growing unemployment-related issues forcing the youth to turn to crime. They appealed to committee members to enforce tougher laws on offenders and, furthermore, suggested they get the youth involved in agricultural activities. The Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Law and Order is led by William Bando, member for Lake Koroba and Lake Kopiago. The committee is on a fact-finding mission to establish the root cause, make recommendations and present its report to Parliament once it concludes consultations in all 4 regions over the next few months. Former MP for Maprik John Simon says Maprik District needs urgent leadership. In a recent press conference, Simon said the death of sitting MP Gabriel Capris has left people and services in disarray. Simon urged East Sepik Governor Alan Bird and the Maprik District Development Authority to exert some level of leadership that their people can rely on until a by-election is conducted. He said besides public assets being misused while law and order issues has somewhat increased and there is a lack of power supply for the past 6 to 8 months.
The government-issued public vehicles are now being used by private citizens and supporters of the late member. I do not think that is right. Somebody needs to restore that. Somebody needs to take this leadership in this. And I am calling upon the governor and the provincial government to do something about this.
Entries are now open for the Morobe Show Queen contest in Lay, Papua New Guinea. The 23rd edition of the event will feature a unique recycled wear category, encouraging contestants to create clothing from Lay biscuit noodles and biscuits, promoting sustainability. Registration is open until October 28, 2023 for individuals aged between 14 to 22. The contest is sponsored by the Lay Biscuit Company and the winner will receive a cash prize of 1,000 kina. The Morobe Show is set to take place on November 4th to the 5th, 2023, with tickets available at the Morobe Show office. The Australian government funded new classrooms and office facilities at Bougainville Technical College in Tinput's district, North Bougainville. The official opening ceremony was attended by prominent figures, including the President of the Autonomous Region of Bougainville and the Australian High Commissioner. The project includes a modern 2-story teaching building with 3 classrooms, benefiting 600 students and faculty, emphasizing the importance of industry-relevant education for Bougainville's future. Microsoft will spend $5 billion over 2 years to bolster Australia's cybersecurity, cloud computing and AI capabilities. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese unveiled the plan at the Australian Embassy in Washington, D.C. on his first official visit to the United States.
Well, it's a really welcome announcement because it actually recognises at scale that the only way we're going to defeat the cyber threats that we face is by government cooperating with industry. And this is the first of hopefully several announcements in the upcoming cybersecurity strategy where we'll see this type of investment from what is a global player choosing to invest in cybersecurity in Australia to assist the Australian government and to assist the Australian community more broadly. So absolutely the only way to solve this problem is the Australian government organisations working with big tech. And it's actually also welcome because it's one of the times where we've seen big sort of west coast of the US tech invest in a liberal democracy in this way, and that will strengthen the security for all of us, not just the government. The data centres that are needed for AI computing are different. They have totally different sort of architecture and configuration. So the fact that Microsoft wants to build those data centres in Australia, A, shows their investment in AI more broadly, but B, also shows that geography matters because it's all about lag time in computing, where decisions are made and how quickly they can get to the person or the machine that requires that decision. So it's smarter them to be building outside of the US this type of data centre. It also shows that AI is clearly coming like a fast train down the track to our economy. That's both good and bad, of course. We can all imagine the upside of taking drudgery out of some of our day-to-day work, making decisions faster. But we also know that we need to put the right type of regulation around AI, social norms, rules and laws around privacy, who owns the data, transparency about the way decisions are made. So it's not without some angst that there's more AI coming, but it is important that Microsoft has chosen Australia to do this quite significant investment.
It's understood homes have been lost in bushfires burning in southern Queensland. Residents between Tara and Kogan, west of Toowoomba, were told to leave their homes in the early hours of this morning as the fire began to move towards properties.
At this stage, we talk about structures, but it is probably houses, residents of our community. So one of those fires that on a day like today, we've got winds blowing, it's very, very hot, and everything's very dry. So Karina, just saying to our community and our residents, if they are asked to leave, that they do leave. We've got a lot of firefighting equipment, a lot of rural fire brigades, our Queensland Fire and Emergency Services on site. We have a major situation with power lines down. There's over 360 residents without power and probably struggling to be able to get in and bring those lines back up to service.
And do you know how many firefighting appliances are tackling these fires?
We had about 30 firefighters move in yesterday, and we've got water bombers working out of the Tara airstrip as well. I think there's about 5 of those operating. The challenge we have, Karina, is there's a major fire over at Millmerran in our neighbouring Toowoomba Regional Council area, and we're having to share some of the capacity to be able to defend these fires and fight these fires. So very, very critical situation across our community, and certainly everyone is doing their best to contain this fire. But to our residents, it is, if they're asked to leave, that they do move immediately.
So you're saying that resources are being stretched too far in the region, is that correct?
Oh, look, it's just a challenge when you have such a time like this where fires do get away very, very quickly. This is a very intense fire. It's, as I say, skipping through the treetops. It's spotting, and it's spotting well out in front of the main flame.